Morning, everyone. We'll wait about another minute here. Get everybody in. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're still missing quite a few people here, so they might be jumping in. Well, there's one. Okay, so I wanted to ask you this morning, you know, we've made it now through a week of remote learning. It was a rough week, I think, at the beginning. Towards the end, I think it got a little bit better. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity, like, is there something I can do for you guys to make anything easier? Is everything, the way we're doing things, going okay? Is there anything you want me to change? I just kind of want to throw it out there. Any comments, suggestions, anything?
I think what we've been doing has been good.
It's okay? Are you okay with how we're doing notes and then I give you an assignment right afterwards and turn you loose? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You're running your class.
Say that one more time.
I like how you're running your class, so I
Okay.
think you're doing fine compared to my other teachers. So.
All right, thanks. All right, well, if you don't feel comfortable saying anything and you want to share something with me, please feel free to email me, okay? Because this is different for everybody. So I feel like last week I was just barely treading water. I don't know about you guys. So is there something we can change? Let me know and we can work on that, okay? I got lots of packets over the weekend and on Friday. So don't forget to keep bringing those in if you can. Okay, and again, if you can't, let me know and I will come to you. We'll make it all work out. How did everything, well, I graded all of your translation stuff and your reflections maze. Let's start with translations. On those 4 slides, I went through and I put a red X if there was something wrong on each, like I graded each problem. Well, not graded. I went and looked at each problem, and if there was something wrong, I put a red X. On the last slide where you had to draw the lines connecting things, if you had something wrong there, I drew in red lines for you, just so you know what was right and wrong, that sort of thing. Okay, then the maze, it was kind of self-checking. Most everybody got that done, so good job on that. Any questions from either translations or reflections? Okay. All right, so today what we're going to look at is we are going to look at rotations. All right, so I made two different posts, honestly for me, because your homework is a Google form, and if I do it a certain way, it'll bring in all of your scores from Google form for me. And so that's why I made your notes different posts from your homework, honestly, to make things easier on me. I'll admit that. And I can grade things faster that way too. All right, so we're going to talk about reflections today. Or no, I'm sorry, we're talking about rotations today. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so we're talking about rotations today. So a rotation is a spin around a fixed point. Okay, so we're spinning figures around a fixed point is typically the origin. Okay, so typically we're spinning it around the origin, and it's always assumed to be around the origin unless it says otherwise. And honestly, we don't do those types of problems. Like, that's not something we typically do. So, one thing I just want to point out here, you're going to see the terms clockwise and counterclockwise quite a bit. All right, so clockwise, remember, goes like the clock. Counterclockwise goes in the opposite direction. And they're abbreviated as CW for clockwise and CCW for counterclockwise. Right? We always assume, not just us, but I'm talking like it's worldwide accepted that rotations are counterclockwise unless it says otherwise. So if it just says rotate it 90 degrees, it's assumed to be counterclockwise. Okay, so it's across the board, it's always assumed to be counterclockwise. All right, so we do have rules for these that you're going to want to memorize. And honestly, I typically memorize the counterclockwise rules. I don't memorize the clockwise rules because we're going to talk about that in a second. I always remember the counterclockwise, that's hard to say, counterclockwise rules. And then I figure out what it would be clockwise, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So 90 degrees counterclockwise, the rule is xy maps to negative yx. So what that means is the y term goes into the x position and we give it the opposite sign, and then the x term goes into the y position. So negative yx is what it is. A 180 degrees counterclockwise turn, okay, that is negative x, negative y. So xy maps to negative x, negative y. So what's happening here is they're staying in the same position, but they're just getting the opposite signs. Okay. Then 270 degrees counterclockwise is xy maps to y, negative x. So the y term goes in your x spot, and then your x term goes into the y position, but it also becomes negative. All right, so let's do an example. So let's take the number, or the point negative 3, 7. If I want to rotate that 90 degrees, okay, the rule is negative yx. So it's going to become, my negative y to be a negative 7, and then I just list the x, which is negative 3. Okay, 180 degrees counterclockwise. 180 degrees counterclockwise, that just says I give the opposite signs to each one. So it would become positive 3, negative 7. Then 270 degrees, it'd be y, negative x. So it becomes 7, and then the opposite of x, which would be positive 3. All right, so Rebecca, did you get your question answered?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
my sound keeps cutting out.
That's okay, it's all right. All right, so another hint here, if you're really bad at memorizing these rules, you could literally just memorize this rule right here. Okay, you could memorize the negative yx. Now that I just covered it up. Oh, hold on. I'm incompetent right now, hold on. Okay, so you could just memorize this rule right here. Because think about it, if I rotated it 90 degrees, right? This is my point. If I were to rotate this point 90 more degrees, okay, do negative yx again, so negative y would be right here. My x, -7 is -7. That's 180 degrees turn now. Another 90 would be a 270. Oops, I erased that. So, oops, yeah. So it would be, I could take this and rotate it again with the 90, meaning negative yx. So it become +7, +3. Okay, so granted I had to do it 3 times to get to my 270, but it's a possibility if you only want to have to think about one rule. Does that make sense? All right. Now I told you I only remember the counterclockwise rotations, right? Is the only one I ever memorize because I can think about what that would be. If someone said do a counterclockwise, I think about what it would be no, hold on. If someone says find a rotation rotating clockwise, I can always think about what it's going to be counterclockwise, right? The 180 and the 180 are the same. If I'm going 90 degrees counterclockwise, that's 270 clockwise. All right, so that's why I don't remember, well, I don't even try to memorize my clockwise rotations because I know I'm going to get myself confused. Okay, so I would really focus on counterclockwise, but understand what's really happening is we can rotate the other way to get clockwise. Is that okay? All right, then I went down here and I did a couple of examples here. Well, I did an example. Now I use the point 8, -1 all the time. If you know you have to do a whole bunch of these and they're clockwise and counterclockwise, keep in mind you don't have to do 6 problems. You're really just doing 3. Okay, so if I went 8, -1, I want to rotate at 90 degrees, that's going to become, that's negative yx, right? So that's, oh, I gift up on that. That should be a +8. Sorry about that. That should be negative yx becomes -1, +8. Okay, that's also though 270 clockwise. All right, then we have, where did I go? Here we are. Okay, sorry, 180. So if I want 180, I'm just changing the signs of everything, right? So it's going to become, instead of a +8, it's going to be a -8. Instead of a -1, it's going to become a +1. Well, 180 counterclockwise is the same thing as 180 clockwise. So you should have the same thing. All right, then the last one, if I do 270 clockwise, I know that is y -x. So my y comes up, and then the opposite of x would be a -8. So -1, -8. That's the same thing as 90 degrees clockwise. All right, how do you feel about that? Are we okay? Yeah, a couple of you, yes, okay. All right, so I put some practice problems in Delta Math to start with. So I want you to go to Delta Math, and I have some problems there for you. It's like a couple people are finishing up, so hang tight. All right, so it looks like most of you are done there. Are we doing okay? How do you feel about the rules? Are they all right? They seem a little intimidating, confusing at first, but once you use them a couple of times, you seem to kind of pick them up pretty quickly. All right, so your homework for today, you have a Google form. Okay, so, and I believe it's going to give you, if I remember correctly, I have it set up so that you get like a triangle and it's asking you for each coordinate on some of them, okay? So you're going to be typing in a bunch of coordinates there. Sound good? Okay, so as soon as you're done with your Delta Math, you can do your Google form, and that's it. We're all set. So unless you need help, you're free to go as long as you're working on your math.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, Miss Wenga. See
Bye.
ya. Bye.
Miss Owenga,
Yes,
are we allowed to leave?
absolutely. Yep. If you're good, I'm good.
Yeah, so I did it just fine, but like one of them I put one like -1.6. That one I just got wrong because I typed in the wrong thing.
Mhm.
But like one of the others I put -6.6 and it was -5.6, but I couldn't tell it was -5. I thought it was 6 because I couldn't see it in the graph.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Do you understand the basic idea of it?
Yeah, I get it. I
Okay.
just couldn't read it on the graph.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's not you. I just
I wonder if
got a
I wonder if the
handful.
graphs just weren't done loading in your with your Chromebook.
I mean, like it works, but like you can only see it clearly if I zoom all the way into it, which I didn't even know I could do, so I hadn't been doing that.
Okay.
But like I think 2 of them overall I got wrong because I was doing them wrong.
Okay.
Like 2 different ones I got wrong because I like just had them flipped. I
Mhm.
had read the question wrong, but the other
Okay.
ones I just couldn't see the graph.
All right. No worries. It's all good.
Okay.
As long as
Thank
you're good, I'm
you.
good.
Okay. I
Sorry.
have it. I understand it.
Okay. All right. That's really my
Okay.
main concern.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.